Everyone. I'm CA Forum Shah here to welcome you all. It is my honor to host this webinar, which is conducted by Women and Young Excellence Committee, which is mainly designed for the professional development for the young fellow chartered accountants and women chartered accountants specifically to sharpen our professional skills and stay updated with emerging trends. Before we move ahead, I would like to urge all the members to join our upcoming event, which is going to conduct on the 8th of November, Saturday. The name of the event is CA Women Leadership Conclave 2025, which is basically a networking event where we have the opportunity to meet all the senior members from the industry, SEBI, and NCLT. As we said, that net worth is our networking. So I really urge each one of you to join in this event in as much as possible. Moving further, I would warmly welcome our speakers for today's session, CA Archana Chirawala and CA Suchitra Kanbar. Topic for today's first session is role of CA as a torchbearers of transparency in cooperative audits. So I would like to briefly introduce CA Archana Chirawala. She is a practicing fellow chartered accountant. She has a deep experience over more than 17 years in the field of banking, corporate governance, taxation, cooperative housing society audits, and RTI. Today, she will bring us deepen insights on the topic of transparency in cooperative audits. Thank you, Archana, ma'am. You may take over.
Hello everybody. Very warm good afternoon to everybody. This is C. Archana. I'm taking today my lecture would be on how to conduct and how to be like more transparent in the audit. But rather than doing a basic audit speech, I will try to speak on more on which we as a chartered accountants, we as an auditor of the societies, we do not look into or we feel it more less to be more important. So we all know cooperative societies is a part of our society where the CA have a role as an auditor once in a year, as a statutory auditor, and definitely as an internal auditors as well. Though the internal audit is not a compulsory part, but being a statutory audit is definitely compulsory and mandatory within 4 months of the closure of the financial year. That is, if the financial year closes on 31st March of every year, by by July, we need to complete it. By August, we need to submit the audit report because the AGM will be taken place by the 30th September of every year as mandated by the state government. Now, not every chartered accountant who are holding this certificate of being a chartered accountant are eligible to do the audit of a cooperative society. Specifically, they need to be on the panel of the state government, approved by the state government on period to period basis, where their names are empaneled, and from there only those can be picked up by the society as an auditor, and the approval will be again given or the consent will be given to the registrar of the societies. In the panel also, if we see that a grading is given based on the experience. The number of audits and the number of years decides the grading of the auditor. Now, once the grading is given, it cannot go on a lower side, but definitely with the experience, it goes on a higher side. To say that if the auditor is given grade C, then he or she will be escalated to B and A and not to from A to B and C. So that is based on your experience, number of years you have spent, or number of societies you have conducted on year-to-year basis. Most importantly, we as the chartered accountants are being privileged to be graded at grade A auditors as well, where there's another sector also, which is GDCA, a diploma course done by the government auditors who are not eligible as having a grade A auditors. They can conduct only from grade BC societies, cooperative societies. What does it mean? It is clearly it means that uh, auditors, there's a rule called 69, rule of MCS Act 1961. First of all, I would like to introduce there are two things, MCS Act 1960 and the Act is 1960 and the rules are 1961, and definitely there are bylaws which we all are aware of, and then is a cooperative manual which most of us have not does not refer to it. So as per Rule 69, there are table A, B, and C, which we need to understand. And we also, as an auditor, if we are graded as grade C, we are not eligible to do the audit of the societies which fall under grade B. To say, suppose uh, a society, a housing society, for example, with an example, I will like to explain a housing society having a member with the members of 100 and plus. So that falls under category B. Now, this housing society can only be audited by a grade B or grade A auditors and cannot, which is approved and which is approved by the state government panel. So grade C cannot do this audit. And if he or she does this audit, like grade C audits for grade A or grade B society, then they are they will face the legal challenges and their names can be debarred from the list of auditors. This is within the Rule 69. Rule 69 is very, very important. But again, coming back to Rule 69, I would like to go, I will come back again to 69. But before taking up 69 more explicitly, I would like to talk about Rule Section 81, which is Section 81 talks about purely about audit, how, who and how the audit is to be conducted in a cooperative society. Rule 81 states that chartered accountant, cost accountants with experience of 5 years or more, and whose names are in the panel of state government. All these criteria are given along with like who need uh, this the auditors need to be more look into, they should be appointed in the AGM by the general body. The appointment of the auditor cannot be by the managing committee. Kindly be sure and assured and reassured that the appointment as a as an auditor of the society, particular society, is done by the general body and not by the managing committee, which is very much oftenly it has been seen that most of the societies take this power from the general body. Either they take up the power, general body gives them the power, the managing committee the power to appoint the auditor in the managing committee, or suo moto they take this power to appoint a auditor in the managing committee, which leads to a disqualification not only of the managing committee, but definitely of also of the auditor. Managing committee will be disqualified under section 75 of the MCS Act, and an auditor can be disqualified under rule 69 1G of the MCS rules 1961. Now what happens? Section 75 2A clearly mentions that the auditor should be appointed by the general body, that is 2A. In A, only the exception was given of for 2 years, that is 2021 and 21-22, during the COVID period, where the managing committee was given power, empowered to appoint them. Now, coming to this one, like bylaw says that auditors can be appointed by the society for consecutively 2 years. And MCX gives the power to appoint an auditor for 3 years. So now there's always a conflict of opinion whether whether a society auditor can be appointed for 2 years or 3 years. So first of all, we need to obtain a duly stamped and adapted bylaws. Adapted and duly stamped. What is an adapted? We all know. Adapted and duly stamped bylaws of the society. And if there's no changes in the bylaw, no change has been made in the bylaw during that tenure of 2 years to 3 years, which is a maximum period given in the MCS Act, we should abide with the bylaw. If anyone challenges, we can face a legal consequences. Second thing, if it is amended to 3 years, then it is within the provision of the MCS Act, but definitely nothing can go beyond 3 years. Again, one more thing, which I would like to highlight over here. Many of us, I have seen in many of the scenarios where even the chartered accountant as an auditor and the society, both are under the impression that the auditor can be appointed at once for 3 years or 2 years. Yes, they can be for a stretch of 3 years or 2 years, but every year they need to be ratified in the general body. If in the first year they have been appointed for 3 years, it doesn't mean for all the 3 years without bringing it to the general body in the AGM, they can be the auditor of the next financial year. So ratification is very, very important. Now, once we obtain a stamped bylaws, and if we don't find any changes in the bylaws, we need to go by the bylaws, or if any amendments has been made by the bylaws, and it has been approved by the registrar, so we need to take care of those provisions as well while doing the audit. We need not to stress on share capital. As we all chartered accountants, we know that very much about the share capital, authorized capital. So I'm not stretching anything on those things. And definitely on reserve fund, which has to be reserve fund is there, which is main fund. Then there's a sinking fund and repair and maintenance fund. So reserve fund has to be like 25% of the net profit every year. It has to be transferred to the reserve fund, which is mandated. All the transfer fees, entry fees from the members, premium received, this becomes the part of the reserve fund. That is, and 25% of the net profit earned every year by the cooperative society. But if the society approaches the registrar, then registrar can make a change, can reduce this 25% to a lower rate, but not less than 10%. So anything between 25% to 10% should be taken care of while we are doing the audit. This should be checked. And then we come to repair and maintenance fund, which has to be 0.75% of the construction cost of each flat when it was constructed. That has to be collected, and 0.25% of the construction cost as a sinking fund. These two funds are mandated, and cannot be compromised under any circumstances, because this kind of reserves are this kind of funds are created for a future to mitigate the future risk. Then other funds can be created by the approval of the general body, like if we create some major repair fund or any other funds that needs the approval of the general body, and these funds can be invested with the banks, with the cooperative banks, with the district central cooperative banks and state cooperative banks, which is earmarked in the form of FDs. And this interest, and it should earn the interest. Otherwise, it will be said that the society is not properly maintaining or looking at the financial health of the society. So as an auditor, we need to look into that all these funds are invested properly, and there's not much funds left in the bank account. So while we are doing a bank account verification, we must also look into the periods where heavy funds were deposited in the banks and were not invested properly. So that should also become a part of our observations and disclosures. After this, the insurance part is very, very important, building insurance. Just 5 years back, it was not a criminal offense, but after I think another during COVID or around COVID, it has become an mandated part that only having an insurance, building insurance is not sufficient. There should be adequate and approved by the insurer that this amount will sufficient to mitigate the risk if the building is in danger. So just or as an auditor, we need to look into that kind of certificate. Only verifying the amount with the bills is not going to do a suffice. Those kind of disclosures where the certificates from the proper authority, the insurance person and has been seen, and that should be also disclosed. Now coming to subletting, before audit, what happens? Before we start audit, these are the some basic and fundamentals. Before audit, the society need to take care and we need to verify accordingly. But before starting audit, we start audit, the accounting year closes on 31st March, and by 15th of May, the account should be prepared by the accountant of the society or whoever is responsible for preparing the accounts. And for another 15 days, under Rule 61, under Rule 61 of the MCS rules, it has to be displayed. It has to be disclosed for the inspection of books of accounts by the members of the society. It is very, very important move and step, and because most of the society during our auditing experience, we have seen that members raise the questions during the AGM, and which leads to mismanagement, or the accounts are not adapted. Some kind of mismanagement happens. To mitigate this or to avoid such situation, it is very much necessary to use the Rule 61 of the MCS rules. MCS Rule 61 says that every society should open the books of accounts for the inspection by the members of the society. All the what now, if I say inspection means not including vouchers, bills, along with the accounts like income and expenditure statement and balance sheet. Along with this, all the vouchers and the bills and other contracts, whatever the society is having, the insurance contract or the building repair contract, build lift maintenance, whatever, it should be kept open by the inspection. And this can be done by giving a notice on the notice board or displayed on the notice board. And as an auditor, I always try to make it a point that before starting the audit, I ask for this notice whether it has been displayed. Even if it is not displayed by within the time specified, say in the month of May, at least I make sure that before I start the audit, I get the queries from the members. As an auditor, it will help me to give more true and fair view of the accounts. Because when we are with the managing committee, they will always give us their side of the story, their side of finances, and we as an auditor should use our due skill and care with a vigilance, and definitely with the questions which this can be seen only through the questions we receive from the members. It also reminds to me to add that overdues of debt. What do in this section 81, section 81E says that we as an auditor, very first criteria of this audit is overdue of debt. Now, overdue of debt is nothing but the balance confirmation from the members as on 31st March of every year for the year we are pertaining to do the audit. So if there is some dispute or some violation of bylaws or certain irregularities of finance is done by the managing committee while billing, which is not within the provisions of the billing, that is 65, 66, and 67 of the bylaws. So, and if they have unnecessarily levied any penalties without any approval of the members in the AGM or SGM, so those things will come to our knowledge. And it will help us as an auditor to look into it and give a fair view and the disclosure in the audit report. So it will also help us to mitigate or to avoid the legal consequences from the concerned authorities. So Rule 61 is important, and any disclosures from the members, complaint register. I'm talking about all this because generally we all know about the general audit, but these are the something which is specific to the cooperative societies. So these are very important. Complaint register from the members is also to be seen whether or not they are maintaining and whether it has been resolved within time, what actions has been taken by the managing committee. It also leads to the comments of the committee, working of the committee by the auditor. Now, when we see generally what we do, we always give a audit report, financial report, form 1, form 7, what is. These are the basic documents, important documents and basic documents which we provide after the completion of the audit. At the same time, we need to give a working of the committee during that financial year. It has to be given by, it is given under section 75 as well as section 81E3. 81E3 talks that as an auditor, we have to give a comment on the working of the committee, whether they have functioned within the provisions of bylaws, whether there was any irregularities while they are functioning or violation of bylaws act or any such or any orders, directions, instructions received from the concerned authority, that is deputy registrar, district deputy registrar, or the joint or DSA or the Pune authorities whatsoever. So whether they have acted upon it or not, and whether any interest of the members has been taken care or not. So that is also important as an auditor of a cooperative society. So talking about this, now if I come to again to Rule 69, Rule 69 says, Rule 69 gives us 3 tables, that is table A, B, and C. In table A, they are the different 3 tables where it specifies who are the auditee and who can be the auditor. So auditor definitely has to be from the panel of a panel approved by the state government, as I mentioned earlier. And on a note, it says that so and so cannot be the auditor. So if there's a cooperative bank, so cooperative banks can be audited only by the grade A auditors, which includes chartered accountants, joint registrars, DSAs, and cost accountants with 5 years experience. The list has been given. So anyone from grade B or lesser cannot auditee from the table A. Similarly, in table B, it talks about that societies with 100 members can be audited only by grade B or higher grade auditors and not by grade C. So this is the way which it talks about. Moving ahead, it also talks about the criteria, the removal criteria of the auditor. What are those? And it in 4 points, it talks about like 9, 10, 11, 12. It talks about who can be, whether a member of the society. if I am a member of my society and I am also a panel society auditor, can I be the auditor of my society? Yes, I can be. It sounds definitely I can be, but there are certain criteria which says above I should not be the internal auditor, neither me. I should not be me or the any auditing firm where I am the partner should not be the internal auditor. My family members cannot be the internal auditor of the same society. I should not be the committee member of the same society. Then uh, uh, other 2 points are like I should not borrow any loans and funds from the society. And if I've not submitted anything like employee, if I'm the employee, if me or my family members, or if the auditor or the auditor's family member are the employees of the society, they cannot do the audit of the same society. So these are the four. And if I'm the auditor, if I'm appointed as a statutory auditor of the society, I need to give the disclosure that I am not falling into this criteria, four criteria. Barring this, I can be the statutory auditor of the society, which is not uh, we have not seen in others, like if we go for the company audits and ever, so that is not allowed. But in societies, we are allowed to do audit barring these four criteria. And when can a auditor can be removed? Auditor can be removed if he or she have not submitted the audit report, not submitted the special audit report with the registrar and with the society, not submitted to the rectification report within 6 months with the registrar, with a list of the activities if it is not done by the auditor. So they can be removed from the panel. It also includes like if the auditor does not submit the written consent of his or her appointment by the general body within 1 month with the registrar. So if 30th September is the last date supposedly, and the AGM had taken place on 30th September. So by 30th October of the year, the written consent of the auditor should be submitted with the respective ward. Whichever ward's deputy registrar uh, the society falls into. Otherwise, not only that he will be not appointed as an auditor, but his name can be removed. And once has been appointed, he have given the written consent. He have accepted the appointment. So if within the specified time limit, that is by 31st August, the 31st August is the signing date, last date of signing the audit report. Many of the reports I have seen that it is signed beyond 31st of August, which is again a legal consequence. It may face a legal consequence if somebody notifies to the deputy registrar and challenges in the with the concerned authority. So it should be within 31st August and the audit should be completed within by 31st July. So if once the auditor has accepted those things, the appointment, the audit needs to be completed within 31st July. Now, there may be circumstances where the auditor may not be appointed by the general body for some given reason. For some given reason, and definitely managing committee cannot appoint. Even the SGBM cannot appoint. It is under Rule 69. An auditor should be appointed in the annual general can commence the audit only with the prior approval of their appointment in the general body. Annual general body, not general body. Annual general body, prior approval. So there is no question of ratification. The appointment cannot be ratified later on. And if it is not done for certain circumstances, any given reason, it may be like the dispute among the members uh, on the given consent of the auditor, or any other criteria like there is a tiebreaker, or no auditor has taken up the consent. The managing committee have not taken the consent to present it before the general body. So under such circumstances, the only one alternative is that the auditor need to be appointed by the DDR. District Deputy Registrar appoints the auditor under Section 81 with the confirmation with the District Registrar of the respective ward. So this is the rule where it goes, and once it is been approved by the Deputy Registrar, the auditor have the same role and function as the auditor appointed by the general body. Otherwise, it may be disqualified under Section 75, that is 2A, specifically, where they can be disqualified. Now, one more very important role of auditor is to submit the audit rectification report within 6 months of the AGM to the registrar. If it is not submitted within 6 months of the AGM conducted, so again, that is a point of disqualification which we need to take care while we have completed the audit and the AGM has been completed by the society. So it is our duty to take care whether the society or either us or the society need to submit that with the register and take an acknowledgement. And under section 79(1)(b), there's a list of documents which we need to be submitted, and definitely the written consent is one of them. Audit rectification report of the year is the another one, which pertains to the auditor. Others are with the society, like amendment of bylaws, which I am not talking about, because today we are talking about the auditors. So now there can be a test audit or re-audit. So test audit or re-audit under section 81(6) of the MCS Act is either taken suo motu by the registrar or on an application of any member of the society, irrespective of the numbers or the percentage of the members in the society. If I'm saying this, I mean to say even one member of the society, not one person, one member of the society from the society can apply for re-audit or test audit if the registrar is convinced that there's some prima facie error in the audit report. The registrar can issue a re-audit and test audit to the auditor, not to the same auditor, but the auditor approved by the it has to be from a different auditor, a government auditor, which goes and who goes and do this audit, and which is equivalent to the audit report which has to be conducted equivalently under section 81, which was as the original audit. Once the re-audit has been ordered, it has to be completed within the time. Even we as an auditor can be appointed as to do the re-audit. So it has to be taken care as good as under section 81 of the Act, and it is to be completed within the given time period. So once it is completed, the specific report and everything has to be submitted with the registrar and with the society, with the registrar and the society. Now there is also a rule, as I was talking about, for some reason, if the auditor is not appointed in the general body for given reason, and the deputy registrar will appoint the auditor for the society for the given financial year. In that case, there's an exception where not necessarily the auditor has to complete the audit within the timeline. Supposedly now the auditor was supposed to be appointed within 30th September of the year, on the given year, for the financial year. Given financial year, I mean. For example, now we are in 25-26. By 30th September, I'm just ruling out that extension which has come on 29th of September. So if we take an example that like 30th September was the last day to appoint to take an AGM and where the auditor will be appointed by the AGM, and the auditor has not been appointed. Now, till next year, say March. Now, this auditor was appointed for this April 25 to March 26. That is for the March 26, the audit has to be done by that appointed auditor. Now, the auditor has not been appointed and nobody have approved the DDR also for the appointment. But they approached only before 30th March, 30th September of the next year. Because now again they have to take that AGM. Now they have waken up by we have to do it. So now what? So now this will not apply. Suppose they approach to the DDR, the society approaches to the DDR after July or after August that we need an appointment of the auditor. So those 31st July, 31st August will not apply to the auditor, but definitely I will suggest and recommend to write a letter to the deputy registrar along with your appointment letter that due to this circumstances, as we have been appointed, I have been appointed as so and so order date and so and so. So I need some time and to complete this audit, which is not possible by so and so date. So that kind of application and protection as we should adhere to, so that we can avoid the future challenges. So saying this, again, when we come to sublative audit, so some sample testing can be done. For example, as I already explained, sinking fund and repair fund, if you take up some maintenance bill and we can ask the management to get the Excel sheet done, which will definitely reduce our burden with flat wise, flat no, with a flat wise, their flat size, flat wise and flat size. So that will give us a, suppose the total number of area what we have and what kind of, suppose rupees 6 is per square feet. So we can calculate and we can check. And the sinking and repair fund in the bill, we can check whether it is 0.25 and 0.75 accordingly. Then subletting of flats. In recent some audits, I have seen that managing committee is conveniently charging more than 10% of the service charges of the maintenance. And members without their knowledge or being unaware of such provisions that it cannot be charged beyond 10%, they are paying that. What I have seen that 20% of the of the service charges is charges NOC to them. So now what can we do in such a situation? We have certain options. Either we can reduce it, we can ask them to reduce it and take the credit and give the credit to the society, to the members, concerned members. Or the approach which I prefer and it should be taken, that it should be disclosed in the audit report and it should be recommended to take up with the AGM. And in the AGM, the members should decide what should be done. Because as an auditor, we are not supposed to change the policies which they have taken up. But in the AGM only, the members have this power. So let the members take, we can suggest in our audit report, and we should be fearless if certain such circumstances are coming where we need to report the violation of bylaws. As an auditor, we are not only here to check the figures and match the bills, but definitely if something wrongdoings are happening in the society, with the balance of words, we need to explain it to the committee, and then we should also take it to the with the members. Where I have found many of the managing committee are cooperative and they understand their faults and uh, they do take the steps to rectify these errors. whereas certain committees were adamant and not ready to change this their policies because of their maybe personal vengeance or some kind of dispute among the members. So that is different. But as an auditor, I always prefer to put in a disclosure without worrying whether next year I will be appointed as an auditor or not. So considering that, these should be reported and let the general body take a call on that. So you are also protected and the right things has been done in a graceful manner. It may be like, and again, there may be kind of unlawful charges levied in the bills. Interest on non-payment of bill may be beyond 21%. It may be lesser than bank rates. So these kind of things also should be highlighted in our audit reports in Form N, which we give. So that all the formats are there, and we are aware as an auditor that there are certain formats which we need to follow. There are judgments also which tells that we need to follow the formats as well. So once it is done, I have like also come across in one of the audit case where fixed deposits were missing. Interest from fixed deposits were not counted, and managing committee was quite adamant to let the auditors report on their audit part. But as an auditor, we should take our stand so that we don't face any challenge. We never know. We should work on our ethics, and we never know who members is vigilant in the society. So if we are supporting the managing committee, you're not doing a good professional work, and we should be very much ethical and to the point within the provisions so that we can avoid and mitigate our problems also, and we are being the rightful to the right deeds of the members. Members should know what exactly is doing in the committee. We are not appointed to support anybody, but to give a one fair view of the audit. So, saying this, I would also like to this one like when we talk about when we are reading, many of us are following MCS Act rules and the bylaws, but we also need to it's a very good book which is given by the government, this one issued. This is cooperative audit manuals, which is elaborated, which has elaborated it into infinite manner, which helps us to understand exactly what is expected from us to do while doing the audit. It resolves many of our queries and quests and gives us a clear view and understanding while we are doing the audit. Now, there's one also as an auditor we have to give, which we give is a grading of the audit classification. So, of the society. First, we have spoken about classification of the auditor and the society. Now we are talking about audit classification, which is again important. Now, what is audit classification of the societies? Audit classification is given, we give as A, B, C, D, and many of the auditors just follow what was given the last year. They just copy and paste. This should be avoided. We need to understand the circumstances, the financials, the performance of the managing committee, the dues from the members, the kind of work, the function of by the committee, the kind of repair works. All this may be different from year to year basis, and not necessarily it will take up the same shape as the last year. Managing committee also changes, elections happen. So many things, secretary may change, the office bearers may change. So their way of doing a work may change. So A stands for excellent and D stands for very bad. So generally, when there are long dues from the members, long loans and advances are taken by the members, functioning of the, there are a lot of violations done by the managing committee, the breaches of which we report in Form 1 and Form 27, Form 7, in Form 1 and Form 7. So through that, we can understand what kind of performance has been made by the managing committee, whether all the dues were paid on timely basis by the managing committee, what kind of disputes they have, what kind of challenges they are facing, whether the managing committee is competent to follow all the acts, bylaws, and whether they are working within it. So once we see that, so based on that, there's an averaging, which definitely there nowhere it is given, but with our due skill and care, we need to understand if it is heavy or long-term debts or year-on-year basis by the members. So we need to lower down. Suppose last year it was B grade, so and with no much of heavy this one debtors or the liabilities to be paid off. So next year it may be grade C with heavy, like 101 has been applied, like now it is 154. So all these are applied and there are certain disputes, certain court cases are going on. On all the spaces, we need to create the society. And it cannot be like copy paste from the 1 year to year basis. We should need to avoid. During these years, and you must be also knowing about Aruna Irani case. I'm sure most of us must have read this, and one of the case with very recent case again with the Jal Ratna Society in Goregaon, Banganagar. So in coming to Aruna Irani case, we have seen that 169 was applied on her. Uh, it was a levy of penalty 5 times of the maintenance. So she was having a 5 shops in her complex, and she was using the area in front of her shop for which was allowed by the BMC and all those things. And the society still was waiving penalty of once under section 169, 5 times of the maintenance. This case was taken up by the deputy registrar, and it was in the favor of the actress Aruna Irani, which the society was asked to remove it. Removal of why this has happened. Because what does the case says? The case says, now why I'm talking about this, because as an auditor, we should need to know all these things. What we generally we are not supposed, like if the managing committee have levied any heavy penalties, which is 5 times of the maintenance or any other penalties, which is in the discrimination or not within the bylaws, we need to report it. We may not change the figure. If there's some X amount levied, definitely we cannot change the figure because we are not the authority to take the judgment on that. But we have the authority to make a disclosure. So while this taking the example of this case, I'm just trying to demonstrate that such disclosure, like 5 times of maintenance, as an auditor, we need to disclose it in the audit report without disturbing the figure of this penalty. Let the concerned authority take a call on that, take a judgment, and order should need to be passed. But by till that time, as an auditor, you need to report whether it has been taken up by the AGM, what was the conditions, what were the circumstances, whether other members are also doing the similar kind of thing. Suppose there is a society of 100 members or say 50 members, and out of 50 members, 10 members are having a similar kind of situation, and only one member has been penalized. So this is the case of discrimination. So these kind of things we need to report that we have seen. My observation is so and so. We may not need to be direct or alleging the committee, but definitely we can say it is in the violation of the 169. It is not an encroachment and only one member out of so and so members. We need to give some facts and we should disclose it. And similarly, in the case of this is the recent classic case of Bangun Nagar Goregaon West, where managing committee was disqualified on certain ground that non-provision of budget of the for the year, then audit rectification report and so on. And a lengthy, some 30 to 40 pages audit has come from Justice Amit Borkar, where he have explained each and every provision of 75 step by step, where it is taken to be grave or lenient, whether it has been financial irregularities, it should not be spared. For example, if the audit has not been done, auditor has not been appointed, and if the auditor has been appointed but it is not competent, all this comes under the serious financial irregularities. So, at the same time, when audit rectification report is to be submitted with the registrar within section 79 1B of the Act, we as an auditor need to take care that we are doing our duty within the provisions of law, so that such case we do not become the part of such cases directly or indirectly, and we have done our part honestly and within the ethics. With this, I would like to say that section 81, rule 61, which I spoke about, the inspection of books and books of accounts, all these are interconnected along with section 75. 75 is definitely a section which disqualifies the members, committee members, and it talks about the auditors as well. Though we are not disqualified under section 75, but if they are disqualified for 75 2A, for example, or for or rectification report or working of the committee, somewhere we are interconnected and we fall in rule 69, which I explained it. So we may also be removed from the panel. So taking care, we are not only appointed to do figure audits, but at the same time, we need to see on the non-financial parts also where we are directly or indirectly connected. Because FIR also is also within the provisions of section 81, where the registrar finds that the audit has some irregularities. Audit has some irregularities when a misappropriation of funds are there. Even if it is not disclosed by the auditor, FIR can be launched. FIR can be launched by the suo motu by the registrar or by on the application of the member, and the member have all the rights to challenge the auditor into a legal consequences with the concerned authority. Without naming the concerned authority, we all understand we who are the concerned authority, including our institute. So we should avoid such kind of situations, not only from the deputy registrar or the joint registrar, but also from our prestigious institute. We should take our this profession to a higher grade and higher level. And with this, I conclude this lecture. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Archana ma'am, for the insights you have shared. And the main thing which you have emphasized is follow our ethics, don't compromise on our ethics. That is the main thing, main learning from the lecture which you have shared. I would just like to ask one question where you said that the member can reach out to the registrar for appointing another auditor if they are not satisfied. There was a discussion where you said that if our report, if any member of the society wants, re-audit, correct.
Re-audit.
So in that case, if the registrar appoints another auditor and the audit report comes, can anyone disqualify us on that grounds also, or no?
Yes. Under rule 69,
Yeah.
if in re-audit,
Yeah.
the registrar finds that there
Yeah.
was a material misstatement by
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
auditor.
Mm-hmm.
So it is explicitly, it is in this rule 69 1G.
Okay.
1G, and there's a subsection also, some 9 or 10 subsection number, where
Okay.
it says that it is the criteria of removal of the auditor from the panel.
Oh, okay.
So we need to be very, very careful.
Very careful. Yeah.
Everywhere we should not follow a sample testing when it comes to a big tickets like something depending upon the society. When we see the vouchers or the billings, we understand these are something different from the regular expenses.
Yes.
So we should not, in one of the society, very suddenly, I would like to state over here that only for 80,000 pump was purchased 20 years back, some 15 to 20 years back, which is now they have taken up with the registrar for 80,000 rupees. And another chartered accountant
Oh.
have made a complaint against the author. And that society is comprising a lot of chartered accountants. So complainant it is also a chartered accountant, and the receiver, the petitioner is also a chartered accountant.
Oh.
Respondent, I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of situation, they have done the work in good faith, and it may be a personal grievance or whatsoever. But
Yes.
if the now what the what we can do, we can have to keep our copies and things, our documents very much intact. And if in that period, suppose say 10 years or 15 years back, a pump was costing 80,000 or 70,000 or 90,000,
Yes.
definitely it is a different case. It is not a
Yes.
case of fraud or
Yeah.
forgery. It
Hmm.
was not a case of fraud.
Yeah.
So just giving an example, small example, but impact is very large. Now
Yes.
they have to give bail for 20,000 rupees each member. So that kind of, if the police have entered into the society, the very sad state of affairs.
Yes. True.
Now,
Absolutely.
yeah. Now he have only lodged that complaint on the members, but he have the right to lodge the complaint on the auditor as well,
Auditors. Yes.
which he have not applied till now, to my understanding. But he have that right.
Yes. Okay. Okay, understood. Thanks a lot for the insights. And it was an amazing session. Thank you so much, Ashna ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to move on to our next speaker, CA Darshika Sayya. She will speak, CA Suchitra Kanabar. She will be speaking on the cyber security, navigating the digital world safety. So I'll ask Darshika Sayya to please introduce CA Suchitra Kanabar. Thank you. Over to you, Darshika.
ना बन गया था hello hello
Yes, Darshika.
yes I'm audible right
Yeah, you audible. Please introduce CA Suchitra Kanavar. Thank you.
yes I will give me a second ma'am yes hello
Hello.
Ma'am, your video is on.
yeah video yes hello yes talking about ma'am Suchitra ma'am Suchitra Kanabar, she is a chartered accountant with a diploma in IFRS from UK, experienced in statutory and internal audits, compliance, and financial reporting. She has worked with leading chartered accountant firms and she has gained expertise in Indian GAAP, IFRS, and financial controls. An active contributor to ICAI, she has delivered technical seminars and is now ready to re-enter the profession with updated knowledge and practical experience. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Off to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a very good introduction. I am grateful to this organization for calling me here a second time. Earlier, also, I have given one webinar regarding the topic on, and this time again, I have been selected for introduction to cybersecurity. Thank you very much. Let's start with the presentation.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity, navigating the digital world safely. Now, what is it that cybersecurity has become so important in the present day world? If you see, every day in the newspaper, we hear and we read that lots of amount of money, say amounting to crores and lakhs of rupees, are siphoned off from the banks. People who are ordinarily working, like if you see bank clerks or people who are booking traveling tickets, You see, when you log in, there are some fake websites available and they siphon off your money. Recently, Windows, they have taken off the help of Windows 10 they have officially ended the support for Windows 10, because of which millions of people have become stranded. So their systems are being vulnerable to cyber attacks. So everyone has to understand that cyber security is very important in the present age, where each and every human being, including kids, are using the mobile devices, you say smartphones, and computer laptops. So understanding this topic is very, very essential. Now, if you see the definition of cybersecurity, it clearly says it is made up of two words: cyber and security. Cyber is related to the technology which contains systems, networks, and programs or data. Security is protection, which includes system security, network security, application, and information security. Definition of cybersecurity can go deep into: it is a body of technology, processes, and practices designed to protect networks, computer programs, and data from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. It refers to techniques and or practices that are designed to protect digital data that is stored, transmitted, or used on an information system. Now, why do you think is cybersecurity important? Here are the reasons why cybersecurity becomes important. First and foremost thing is, it gives lot of financial loss to the organization or be it an individual. Plus, there is reputational damage which is occurring. You have to ensure that the data is protected and it is not leaked to outsiders. So, as far as possible, a person is not required to reveal his personal data to anybody. Ensuring regulatory compliance. Here, you have to ensure that whatever rules and regulations have been laid down for cybersecurity, you have to comply with it. For example, Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Here, they try to ensure that the personal data of the person is protected. Then you have to maintain continuity in business. How do you maintain continuity in business? Whenever there are mishaps or destructions of data during or after, you have to ensure that you fully conduct your business activities without getting being impacted by the destruction or the what you can say, a malfunctioning of the various devices due to the cyber attacks. Then safeguarding of business assets. Here, your business assets would refer to your employees' laptop. It could be smartphone, or it could be critical infrastructure like the server systems of the organization. You have to ensure that these business assets are properly functioning and they are free from cyber attack. Then protection of individual and communities. Here, we very well know that today in the kids are using the laptops for gaming. They are also using it for their study work, and plus they are using it as a social media. So there are chances of being stalked or being bullied, or kind of theft of important information. So even protection of kids is very important over here. And if you see, uh, to create awareness about cybersecurity, in October month itself, Cyber Awareness Month 2025 was celebrated, and a famous actor had attended it at the headquarters of the police, where they had also uh, published some new books on cybersecurity, and the actor who had attended it had publicized that cybersecurity is very, very important for small kids. It could damage their mental and social well-being. So Here is the best example to show that cybersecurity is very, very important. Then you have defense against cyberware. Here, it is a layer strategy of technological, procedural, and human focus measures at both the national and the individual level. Prevention of data breaches. Here, you know that the data is very important for an individual and organization. So, data leaks can occur from insecure apps that have excessive permissions. So you have to be careful while using various apps to ensure that these apps don't have access to very much private information that you are holding either in your cell phones or on your laptops or desktops. Any breach of mobileware system could result in the exposure of sensitive customer and financial data. Support for digital innovation. Here, digital innovation would mean that you have to integrate your security with the design process, artificial intelligence machines that you are using, and also leveraging artificial intelligence so that you can detect any threats using data driven techniques to improve security posture. Now, in order to have a proper plan so that you can mitigate the cyber threats, the first and the foremost thing that you have to understand is the key fundamentals of cybersecurity. The cybersecurity fundamentals, unless you have a good grip on it, you cannot mitigate the cyber threats. Here are the key fundamentals of cybersecurity. First and the foremost is confidentiality. Here, you have to prevent disclosure of data to unauthorized parties. It also means that you have to keep the identity of the authorized persons in sharing and holding data as private and anonymous. Here, confidentiality is sometimes compromised by cracking poorly encrypted data, disclosing sensitive data. So, the standard measures that you can establish to have confidentiality are data encryption. Here, encryption would mean you're protecting the data with algorithm and secret keys. Then you have biometric verification where you can have fingers or your facial expressions. Then you have security token. Security token can be a hardware security where you can have a USB port where you can put in your USB drive in it. And the second one would be OTP. Then other thing that you have in the software security token is time based OTP. And the last thing that you can have in security token is bearer, wherein digital token where possession is enough to gain access, requiring the user to protect it from being intercepted. Then two-factor authentication. Here you can have your usual username password, and the second authentication could be an one-time verification sent on your phone in the text message form or a SMS, wherein one-time OTP is sent and you confirm those OTP to the person who is giving you authorization to access the data. Then the next thing that we can have is integrity as a key fundamental. Here, you are protecting the information from being modified by unauthorized parties. The standard measures to guarantee integrity are data backups, uninterrupted power supplies, using file permissions, cryptographic checksums. Third is, before I proceed on to the third key fundamental, let me explain you. Uninterrupted power supplies, here we can have power banks with us so that you can make use of it to charge your desktops or mobile devices. Then, or even the servers can be charged with the power backups. Then, regarding cryptographic checksums, what are cryptographic checksums? It is a mathematical value which has been created by a cryptographic hash function that verifies integrity of data and ensuring that it has not been altered, tampered, or corrected. Then, availability as a key fundamental of security, making sure that the authorized parties are able to access the information when needed. Standard measures to guarantee availability are backing up data to external devices, implementing firewalls. What are firewalls? They block unauthorized users from accessing the system or network that cannot be used unless you have the internet. Then, having backup power supplies, data redundancy. Data redundancy is having same data at different or multiple places. There will be two reasons for having data at multiple places. One is either intentionally for backup or fault tolerance you have kept it, or unintentionally due to database design, which is very poor. So these are the key fundamentals of cyber security. Then let's move on to the next thing, 7 layers of cyber security. Let's see. The first and the foremost layer is mission critical assets. You know what are the critical assets? That is the data that you need to protect. Then data security protects the storage and transfer of data. Application security. Application security controls protect access to an application and application access to your mission critical assets and the internal security of the application. Endpoint security controls protects the connection between devices and the network. Network security controls protect an organization network and prevent unauthorized access of the network. Perimeter security controls includes both the physical and the digital security methodologies that protects the business overall. The human layer, humans are the weakest link in any cyber security posture. Human security controls include phishing simulations. Now, what is phishing simulation? It is either email or SMS, phone call, social media, or social engineering techniques to entice a victim into sharing sensitive information or passwords. And assets management controls that protect mission critical assets from a wide variety of human threats, including cyber criminals, malicious insiders, and negligent users. Malicious insiders are the ones who are individuals from within the organization, and he may be an employee or he may be a contractor or he may be a partner who intentionally abuses the authorities which he has to cause harm to the company. Then types of cyber threats or attacks. Let's go through the different types of cyber attacks. The first and the foremost is malware. The malware is further divided into ransomware, fileless malware, Trojan, mobileware, phishing. I'll go through each of these cyber attacks in the next slides. At present, it's just a gist of all the types of cyber threats. Then we have spear phishing, which is further divided into whaling, smishing, phishing. Then the next is denial of service attacks. Here, the malicious targeted attack that floods a network with false requests in order to disrupt business operations. Unable to access emails, websites, online accounts, or other resources. Then, types of cyber threats. Again, you have spoofing, which is further subdivided into domain spoofing and email spoofing. Then you have insider threats, DNS tunnel, and identity based attacks. Now, let's start with the first thing, which is malware. First and the foremost thing, malware is the most common type of cyber attack. Any program code that is created with the intent to do harm to a computer, network, or server is a malware. The best examples are virus, which is self-replicating program that attaches itself to other software files spreading when executed. I love you virus was very famous. Then worm is another type of malware, a standalone malware that replicates itself to spread to other computers without requiring user interaction. Example code read 30% of the malware enters via festival themed PDFs or zip Diwali blessings silently loots the data. Then we have ransomware. An adversary encrypts a victim's data and offers to provide a decryption key in exchange for a payment. Generally, the payment would be in the form of cryptocurrency, usually launched through malicious links delivered via phishing emails, unpatched vulnerabilities, and policy misconfigurations. If you see, the best example of ransomware, which is a real life example, is WannaCry, where it targeted thousands of computer systems worldwide, spreading through corporate networks and demanding Bitcoin payments for data recovery. Then you have fileless malware. Here, the malicious activity that uses native, legitimate tools built into the system to execute cyber attack. It does not require an attacker to install any code on target system, making it hard to detect. The example of this is living off the land and PowerShell based attacks. Next type is Trojan. Malware that appears to be legitimate software disguised as native operating system programs or harmless files like free downloads. Installed through social engineering techniques such as phishing or bail websites. Here, the best example I could think of in everyday life, which we have come across, is Tesla A. Tesla A. It is a spyware Trojan where the target is the business and the aim is to steal the password and its credentials. Another one is Zeus Trojan, steals financial information through techniques like keystroke logging and grabbing. Then we have mobileware. It targets mobile devices because of use of unsecured Wi-Fi, and it is delivered through malicious downloads, operating system vulnerabilities, phishing, and smishing. Phishing is using email, SMS, phone, social media, and social engineering techniques to entice a victim to share sensitive information such as passwords, account numbers. You have to download a malicious file that will install viruses on their computer or phone. Here, I could think of an example where scammers exploit festive joy through phishing and smishing. From Shubh Diwali to Bank Zero, the greeting messages become messages for destruction. Next is spear phishing. Here, it's a type of phishing attack where the target is specific individual or organization and generally malicious emails are used. So the goal is to steal sensitive information such as login credentials or infect the target's device with malware. Whaling. Before we go ahead to whaling, I would like to give you an example of spear phishing wherein fake lottery emails are sent to the people or urgent requests to buy gift cards. People click on these links and then their sensitive information like password, username, or other login credentials are taken away by the attacker. Specifically attacks senior or the CFO or the CEO level executive employees, and the purpose is to steal money or information, and the aim is to gain access to the person's computer in order to execute further cyber attacks. So fraudulent emails, text messages, and phone calls are sent over here. The best example over here was Snapchat, where sensitive payroll information was leaked out in 2016. This had happened. And another real life incident is Tessian, where in 2020 a fake Zoom invitation was sent during the pandemic to the co-founder, and he clicked on that link which installed malware, and this allowed the attackers to create fake invoices. Then the next is smishing, fraudulent practice of sending text messages purporting to be from a reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information such as password, credit card numbers. Here, the best example of smishing I can think about is a message that you have won a prize and you need to provide details to claim your prize money, and plus you have to pay a small fees too, so it's not coming there for free. So the moment you give in your details or make some small payment, to your whole of the bank account would be siphoned off. Other example is text claiming that there's an issue about a package delivered at your home, and it asks you to click on a link, and that link siphons off your money. The third example would be a text from a fake government source threatening you with legal action unless you comply with something. Say, for example, they're giving you a link, so you either click on that link or you need to call a number immediately for a fake message given to you that you have been levied with some penalty. So if you click on that link, possibility that your bank account is siphoned off. Wishing, it's a voice phishing attack. Here, what you do is you have a voice mimics the bank message saying that please share your OTP for refund. There are 80% fraud cases happening like this, and these cases happen more during festivals. If you see, once you click, it can explore your credit card and all your details are out. So fraudulent use of phone calls and voice messages pretending to be from reputable organization to convince individuals to reveal private information such as bank details and passwords. Spoofing. Here, the technique through which cybercriminal disguises themselves as a known or trusted source. The adversary is able to engage with the target access their system or devices with the ultimate goal of stealing information, extorting money, or installing malware or other harmful software on that device. Here, various channels are used, including emails, phone calls, websites. Plus, you also have GPS signals with the goal of tracking a user into taking an action that benefits the attackers. Spoofing again is of two types. We have seen that before. You have domain spoofing and you have email spoofing. So let's see what is now the domain spoofing. It's a form of phishing. Attacker impersonates a known business or person with a fake website or email domain to fool people into trusting them. Domain appears to be legitimate at first glance, but a closer look will reveal subtle differences. So, what are those subtle differences? Those could be some misspellings in that websites. It could be a character substitution, example, replacing O with zero, or it could be some extra characters that have been added in the web address. The next thing is email spoofing. Here, it targets the businesses by using emails with forged sender addresses. The recipient trusts the alleged sender, more likely to open email and interact with its content, such as malicious link or attachment. So, if you see here, the address from whom the email is sent, that is from address, would be forged. So you have to be very careful in seeing that what is the address that has been mentioned. Before you click on the link, you have to make sure that the email address of the person is proper or no. Then the next type of cyber threat is identity based attacks. Here, the valid user credentials are compromised. adversary is pretended to be that user using same user ID and password across all multiple accounts. Then possessing credentials for one account may be able to gain access to the other unrelated account. Here, the best example one can think about is brute force attacks. It makes use of automated tools to systematically try all possible passwords to gain access to the system. So, if you see, generally people have the habit that they keep the username and password of all their important accounts as same, but this could be risky. So if a hacker comes across one username and password, he can try it across all your multiple accounts thinking that it might work over there. There's no guarantee that everybody would keep user ID and password different for different accounts. So it would be a good practice that we keep multiple user ID and passwords for different accounts in different areas also. Then insider threats. Current or former employees pose a danger to an organization. Direct access to company network, sensitive data, intellectual property, as well as knowledge of business processes, company policies, or other information that would help to carry out such an attack. Here, in the insider threats, I would like to elaborate on the different kinds of insider threats that we see. First and the foremost is the one with a malicious intention. So, he is a malicious insider. That means he has authority to access the data of the organization, but he is using it to cause harm to the organization. Why? Because he wants to have some personal gain or financial gain. He's stealing the data and selling it to, say, competitors, or he's trying to cause some sabotage. Then we have careless insiders. Who are they? They unintentionally cause harm through negligence, such as falling for a phishing scam or leaving a device exposed. It is not that they intended to do that, but unintentionally it has been compromised. Then you have compromised insider. An account has been hijacked by an external attacker. The attacker uses the legitimate access to carry out their malicious activities. So these are the different types of threats. Now, another type of threat that we have is DNS tunneling. Here, what do? It leverages domain name system queries and responses to bypass traditional security measures and transmit data and code within the network. Tunnel gives the hacker a route to unleash malware and or extract data, IP or other sensitive information by encoding it bit by bit in a series of DNS responses. In DNS tunneling, there are many indicators which indicate that DNS tunneling threat or attack has happened. First and the foremost thing is high volume of DNS traffic. Second is unused or abnormally long DNS request. Third, large volume of DNS queries to an unusual or suspicious domain. Internet of Things. Here, it targets an Internet of Things device or network. Once compromised, the hacker can assume control of the device, steal data, or join a group of infected devices. Here, if you see what is Internet of Things, it is a network of physical objects embedded with sensor software and other technologies that connect and exchange data over the internet without human intervention. The smart home devices like voice assistant that can control other devices. Alexa, which we have at our homes most of the times. Siri is another example which is available in the iPhones. Or you can have a car with a sensor that alerts the driver to the risks that are coming in their way. So in Internet of Things, lot of care has to be taken. The hacker can assume control of the device. So it is very important that we understand how the Internet of Things work. Then the next thing that we can do is the cyber security measures. We have to be very much alert when we know that in today's world we cannot be eh, left all alone, or we cannot escape cyber security. So firewalls are the best cyber security measures. Here, it blocks the unauthorized users from accessing the system and the networks that connect to the internet. It detects the attacks by cyber criminals and removes the unwanted sources of network traffic. Encryption, it makes use of algorithms and secret keys to protect the data. It is used by criminals to hide their crimes. It is legitimately used for ensuring the privacy of information by keeping it hidden from unauthorized users or persons. The next is strong password. You have to ensure that you use unique passwords. It would be a combination of numbers, upper letters, lowercase letters, symbols. You don't have to share your passwords with anybody, be it a kid or an adult. As far as possible, the password sharing business has to be avoided. Password managers, a software application that securely stores your username and password in an encrypted vault. So you only need to remember one master password to access them all. Then you have to regularly install security updates and patches in respect of software and the systems. Installing and updating the antivirus software regularly. Here, various kinds of antivirus softwares are available in the market. You have to decide based upon the ERP system that you are following, based on the type of hardware devices that you are using, what kind of antivirus software would be suitable to your organization. Accordingly, you decide and buy that antivirus software. And security updates and patches of software and systems, either daily or once a month or once a week. You can have your security patches updated, or you can have a pop-up regarding the new security updates that are coming up. So the moment they come up, you immediately try to update that patch, or you set a timer that on this date and this time, please update the patches. The more updated your software and systems are, the less vulnerable it is to the cyber attacks. Then the next thing that we are coming up is what best practices an individuals can do to protect himself from the cyber attack. Now you very well know that you have to use strong passwords. Just now we saw that what is the meaning of the strong password. First and foremost, it should be a combination of characters. It should be alphabets, special keys. You can also make use of, it should be a strong password, minimum 7 to 8 characters in it. Then you should have multi-factor authentication. Here you can have, in multi-factor authentication, you will have your username and new password, which is the usual one. Then you either through SMS or an email, you get a one-time OTP password, which can be a second factor authentication, or else you can have facial recognition or biometrics or finger detection as a multi-factor authentication. Then the next thing is you have to back up your data regularly, be it your system or be it your regular accounts that you're doing, or you can also have what do you say, backup of the systems, backup of the servers is also required. So backup of almost all the data which is very important to your organization is very much essential. And the backup devices that are used have to be stored properly in a place so that they are not damaged. Then you have to be cautious about phishing attempts. Phishing has already been discussed in great detail before. It is basically tricking people to reveal out sensitive information. Then you have to use secure connections, HTTPS. If you see, most of the websites or the links, they have HTTPS colon and two front slashes in them, and a padlock icon in the address bar next to the URL. What is the purpose of HTTPS? It is encryption, authentication, and integrity, crucial for online banking or shopping. If the website is not secure, please do not click on those links. The letter S in that HTTPS is very important. It stands for secure. Unless that S is there, please don't click on the website links where only HTTP is written. Also, in case of online banking activities, online shoppings, one has to be very careful that you don't click on the links which might lead to siphoning of your accounts. And festivals, especially during Diwali, these kind of things happen very frequently because people are so excited that they tend to either oversee something or they are in their own world, and then siphoning of the accounts can happen. Another thing is avoid public Wi-Fi for sensitive activities. Nowadays at all railway stations, on the airports, you do have public Wi-Fi, but be careful while using those Wi-Fis. You never know, the virus or the worms can attack through it. So it is better to stick to your mobile data or your personal hotspot to reduce the risk of data theft, malware, compromised security. So the best thing is mobile data, or you can make use of hotspot. And as far as possible, don't make use of public Wi-Fi. Plus, also we have seen that people make use of the charging connections at various airports and railway stations. That could also be one of the ways to compromise your sensitive data. So, as far as possible, have your own power banks for your mobile phones. Best is to charge your phones fully from home, and as far as possible, keep your mobile data off so that your battery does not get drained out, and there would be less chances of you to get your uh, phone charged at the airports or the railway. Then the next thing is use a virtual private network, VPN. Now, what does VPN do? It's a security service that creates a secure encrypted connection over a public network like internet. It masks your IP address, hides your online activity from your internet service provider and others, and encrypts your data to protect your privacy and secrecy and your security. This is basically a virtual private network. Then, what are the best practices for the organizations? We very well know that organizations, you have to have continuous updation of the technology, and the employees also have to undergo training and awareness so that they become aware of the cyber attacks, new cyber attacks that are happening in the world. So you have to implement a robust security policy. It is a living document which needs to be continuously updated as the requirements of the technology and the employee changes. You have to conduct regular social audits. What is a regular social audit? It is a transparent, accountable review process that assesses an organization's ethical and social impact in handling data and implementing cyber security controls. Incorporates stakeholders' feedback, focusing on issues like data privacy, user rights, transparency, and the community impact of security practices. You have to provide training to the employees. You have to teach them how to recognize and report suspicious activities like emails and links promptly. Emphasize secure remote work practices. Power device handling using strong passwords, enabling multi factor authentication, and keeping the software updated. Incident response planning, a structured strategy for managing cybersecurity incidents by outlining steps to detect, respond to, and recover from attacks. Purpose is to minimize damage, shorten recovery time, and reduce associated costs by preparing for incidents in advance. Best practices for kids. You all very well know that nobody in this world is completely safe on the internet, not even the children. Police and cyber experts, they have stressed upon the need to have parental controls to limit access to certain content and apps. The kids should visit websites only which are kids friendly, and the apps that they use should be meant only for kids. They have to avoid the websites with the bad content. You have to make them understand that they don't have to share the passwords of their smartphones or the laptops or the iPads that they use for their schoolwork with anybody, at least not with the outsiders. And they don't have to share their personal information like full name, address, phone number online with anybody. They have to use the passwords which are hard to guess. And if they come across something bad on the internet, or they feel something weird is happening with them while playing games online, if they come across something weird which is not making them uncomfortable, then they need to talk to their parent, teacher, or the trusted adult that they have with them. Plus, you have to ensure that you keep your software updated with the latest security patches. And the last thing that I could say over here is have fun online safely by always prioritizing your safety and privacy. Include cyber security topic in the regular curriculum for the kids so that they can protect the children from predators. You should have campaigns in schools. They, if not in the regular curriculum, you can always have one or two sessions on cybersecurity and make the children understand the importance of cyber security. They have to be made understand that how they should give a proper befitting reply to the cyber attacks that happen when they are using their laptops. Then, if you see, the next thing that we are covering up is the regulations governing the cyber security. The first and the foremost important regulation which is applying to the regulation cyber security in India is Information Technology Act 2000. It's a primary legislation, and the important framework for which it has been designed is to protect sensitive information, critical infrastructure, and cybercrime. Now, I have listed down the various sections from the Information Technology Act 2000, which tells us what would be the penalties for various acts that we do. So, first and the foremost is Section 43. It deals with penalties for unauthorized access, data theft, virus attack. Here, the civil penalty of on any one, that means either an individual or an organization, up to rupees 1 crore, pay compensation damages to the person so affected. Section 65, it deals with computer source code tampering, imprisonment up to 3 years or fine up to rupees 2 lakhs or both. Section 66, computer related offenses. In case of dishonest or fraudulent intent, imprisonment up to 3 years, a fine up to rupees 5 lakhs or both. Section 69, powers of interception, monitoring of digital communication. Government should allow for interception, monitoring of digital communication for reasons related to national security, public order, or other investigating offenses. Section 70, protection of critical information infrastructure. Here you have imprisonment up to 10 years and a fine. Section 72, protection of personal data and privacy. Without the consent of the owner, if someone discloses the information to another person, the concerned person has to go for an imprisonment up to 2 years or fine up to rupees 1 lakh or both. The Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. This I already discussed it before. It focuses on protecting personal data, defining the rights of individuals, and establishing obligations for organization and handling personal data. Regulations governing cybersecurity. Here again, we have National Cyber Security Policy 2013. Aim is to create a secure cyber ecosystem, protect critical infrastructure, and establish a mechanism for coordinating cyber security efforts. The Reserve Bank of India Cyber Security Framework provides guidelines for banks and financial institutions to manage cyber security risk. RBI has laid down various guidelines for banks to be followed and financial institutions to manage the security risk. The Securities and Exchange Board of India's Cyber Security Framework, it outlines the cyber security requirements for SEBI registered entities. The Indian SPDI Rules 2011. It requires companies handling sensitive personal data to implement reasonable security practices. Regulations governing cybersecurity. Information Technology Guidelines for Intermediaries, Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. It mandates intermediaries to implement security practices and report incidents to Computer Emergency Response Team India. Information Technology, Information Security Practices and Procedures for Protected System Rules 2018. This requires organization with protected system to implement specific security measures. The Telecommunications Telecom Cyber Security Amendment Rules 2025. It requires telecom service providers to implement robust cyber security measures. Now, before I proceed further, there's a website called cybercrime.gov.in, which will help you to lodge a complaint against cyber attacks that have happened to you. You have to save the evidence and then report it at that website. This is the measure that can be adopted in case you have come across cyber security threat. So if you see, conclusion, cyber security is a shared responsibility. Everybody from small organization to big organization to individuals, including kids, everybody, whoever is impacted, has to give a befitting reply to the cyber threats that they are facing. Also, if you see, continuous learning and vigilance are the key. You have to keep on updating yourself with the latest technologies that are happening. You have to keep your software updated, you have to keep your systems updated, and for that you have to ensure that you make a calendar, or you feed the various dates and times in your system to update your various system and processes that are to be done. Then you have to invest in people, process, and technology. Whatever technology, people, and processes that you are using in your organization, you have to ensure that those are the, for people, I can say that you have to ensure that they are honest people, that don't try to have personal benefit over the benefit of the organization. Processes and technologies, you have to see that you have latest one, the latest which have been updated, you have proper backup technologies with you. Power supply is very important. If there is no power supply, these devices cannot work, so you have to ensure that there is uninterrupted power supply which is happening. And if you face cyber threats, you should have alternative backup plans with you, so that you are in a position to complete your work and your business is not affected by it. So continuity in your business activities is very, very essential. If you face a cyber threat, what you can do is scan your devices, and factory reset is the last resort. In today's world, recently Diwali got over, and in the newspapers we read a lot about cyber threats which were happening. We could read that they had downloaded some e-greetings, and that link e-greetings had a vicious link which took them and siphoned off their credentials and siphoned off their money from the banks. Plus, we could also see that e-shopping. One article had come in the newspaper when a BMC clerk was duped of thousands of rupees while he was shopping on a e-website. So you see, everyone has to understand the importance of cybersecurity, and they have to focus on all the possible measures to counter this threat. In the festival lights, caution's glow can banish cyber shadows and ensure true celebration. With this, I end my presentation. If you all have any questions, yes, you can ask me. Uh, Over to you, Madam Darshika.
Thank you so much, Suchitra, for the deep insights you have shared with us on cybersecurity. I think Darshika is on mute. I'll take it over.
Okay.
It was a very insightful session, and thanks for sharing all the knowledge related to cybersecurity. It is must these days, especially the kids part, which you said that kids are to be made aware of, not compromising the security and not giving any data, and also while they see any content on internet, it should not be misused. So thank you so much for that. And I'll just check if there are any questions regarding the ppt. I think people don't have any questions. Thank you so much for the session, and we are looking forward for more such sessions with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I
Thank
am
you.
very much honored to be a part of this. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye. See you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Hello. Yes, tell me. हाँ. Sorry, come again. हाँ जी, एंड कर दीजिए.